VW for the win. Oh! Right then, today in this video, you guys, I'm going to be showing you how to pass your driving theory test. Okay, I'm going to be giving you some top tips, what not to revise, what to revise, your understanding, and what apps to use to make sure you smash out that theory test, whatever day it is, whether it's a week away, whether it's tomorrow, you will pass. For a bit of context, I passed my driving theory test on Monday and it's currently Thursday, and I managed to pass it with around 4 hours of revision. And just so you guys don't think I'm lying or anything, this is what I got. I got 45 out of 50 and 59 out of 75 on the hazards and perception. I think there's definitely a misconception that the driving theory test, you need months for revision, and that definitely is not the case, as I managed to cram for about 3-4 hours the Sunday before, or the day before Monday, where I had my driving theory test. I definitely think it is not as hard as how people make it out to be. And all I think you really need to do is just revise specific areas and really understand what you're going to get tested on. It's not about doing an A-level or GCSE where you need to learn it specifically, you need to memorize certain things. It's just your understanding that really matters. So for preparation, I use two main components: YouTube videos and the Driving Theory 4-in-1 test app. It's on iOS, Android, any app store, and I will play a little video now to show you how you get to it. So first of all, download 4-in-1 on the App Store.
By the way, sorry I'm whispering because I'm actually on a train right now.
So once you've downloaded it on the App Store, this is the layout of what it is. So that's a pass guarantee, you may as well do that, it's free. And that is the theory test, so pass guarantee again, category selection, these are really good. You need to get 100% on all of these, or above 50%. Mock test, grind these. Question types, you've got a variety to choose from, really, really good. And then back out, you've got hazard perception. You need to download these. It's only like 8.5 megabytes, and obviously you're not going to have them forever.
Yeah, so use all of these, download all of these, and you will be set.
But yeah, you don't have to use these, but I highly recommend you do, because they're a great complement for each other. On the theory test app, you do loads of questions, you kind of understand it a bit more. And in the YouTube video, you literally get told why this is a hazard, why this is wrong, why this is right. And it really, really explains it for you. So I think they complement each other really, really well, and you should use both of them. I am also going to link the YouTube videos down below in the description, so you guys can just check those out and just learn them. Learn them, learn them, learn them. You need to learn and understand the context of every single question. And that doesn't mean learning and memorizing the questions. It means really kind of comprehending them and understanding what each one means. So a bit of context about what actually happens. So you've all got provisionals. Hopefully, if you are started to do your driving lessons, you will have one. And you go to your local test centre. For me, that was in my local city. And what happens is you go in, it's usually quite low key, incognito. So like the whole wall, it might literally just be like a brick building. I know mine was. And you knock on the door and you go in, you sign in, you need to just pass over your license, and you need to just verify your ID by looking at a camera, just so they can verify that it's actually you. So you will have all your electronics taken off you, and you'll need to put them in a locker. However, you are given a key, so just be reassured that everything will be safe. You're also given a pat down. Nothing weird, it's not like airport security or anything, but you will be given a pat down just to make sure you haven't got any wires or loose headsets or anything to allow you to cheat. Bearing in mind the theory test and the hazards and perceptions are both on the computer, you're just going to be looking at a screen, and you'll just have a little mouse that you can use to just click on hazards and perceptions and also just answer the fixed questions in the theory test. I've already kind of answered what you need to actually learn, the hazards and perceptions and the theory test. However, the theory test, you really, really need to do mock questions. And so I've already shown that on the video, but just do the mock tests over and over again. And when you finish the mock test, they will give you a review of what you got right and what you got wrong. You need to go over all the ones you got wrong. Okay, they are really, really important because they're realistic questions that you could actually get in the real thing. So the theory test itself took me around 25 minutes to finish, and the hazards and perceptions test took me about 15. But it takes the same amount of time for everybody because we've got a set amount of timing on the video. So it will take 15 minutes for everybody. Right, then we're going to start with hazard perception. So this is one of the two main categories that you will be doing. So you've got the theory test and then you've got the hazards and perceptions. Okay, so hazard and perception is a group of videos. So there will be 14 videos that you will need to watch. And during each one of these videos, you will have to look for a hazard. Obviously, you've got the hint for the name of the test. You are going to be looking for hazards. So I'm going to give you a few examples. I'm going to run through a few videos with you so we can see like which hazards are which and when you need to click. However, before we start that, I really need to mention the holy trinity of the hazard perception test, the 3-second rule. You need to do the 3-second rule. So basically, I'm going to explain what it is. It is when you click on the mouse. That's literally it. It's the timing of when you click on the mouse. That is what the AI computer is going to measure you on and obviously test you on. And it's going to give you how many marks depending on how close you are to the hazard when you click. So for example, let's say you are driving down the road and a motorcyclist comes straight across you. You will need to click once when you spot the motorcyclist, once again when the motorcyclist is in the road, so that's like kind of the middle of the hazard, and then once again when you are free to drive on and the hazard is no longer a threat. You will know when you have pressed on the hazards and perceptions video because a little red flag will pop up at the bottom. You'll be able to do that on this app too, which is really, really cool, especially on the YouTube videos too, where you can actually see and they go back and they kind of explain why that's a hazard and when you need to click and the timing and how it's obviously really, really important to click on the times, because if you don't click on the times, you're not going to score any points and you probably will fail the hazards and perceptions.
Right then, so this is an example of what it may look like. It doesn't look like this exactly, but it kind of looks like this. It's not real life, it's CGI in the actual thing too. So if you look at the bottom, you'll see like a multicolored green, yellow, red thing, and in there's the flags. This is when you need to click. So click, click, click. Okay, it's quite fast paced because obviously that cyclist came into the road, he didn't even look. No longer a threat anymore though because he's on the side of the road. Right, another example. Here we have, this is more realistic of what it will look like in the test. Okay, so the yellow circles show a possible hazard. So you would not click for these, like that car turning off and this car coming in, because they're not actually hazards. They're not affecting you. However, this car in the red that is traveling really, really fast, he is a hazard. And you'll see just now, you'll need to click now, 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 3 times, okay? If you click now, you will not score any points.
Another thing that is really, really important is that 13 of these 14 videos, you have one hazard, only one, okay? You need to look out for one hazard. However, for one of the videos, so one of the 14 videos, there will be 2 hazards, okay? So you might have a lorry obstruction and then a motorcyclist comes in front of you. That would be 2 hazards, okay? And usually these are quite far apart in the videos, so you might have one in the middle and the end, the hazards. They're not kind of together. If they're together, that's usually just one hazard. It usually is at the start or the finish, you get 2 hazards, and you'll kind of recognize that. So the whole test lasts for around 1 hour and 30 minutes. I think it's 1 hour and 29 minutes. Don't know why it's so specific, but that's how long it lasts if you really want to maximize going over your questions, really checking them. I would recommend that. However, if you're feeling confident, like I kind of knew I got these questions right, I was already adding up like how many marks I got in my head. If you're confident, you can leave beforehand and you can go and get the dreaded certificate or test paper that will have your results on. And it's quite funny actually, because they will fold it. They do this in every single test center. I've messaged all my friends and people that I know that have passed, and it happened to them too. And they fold it so you cannot see. You're not allowed to open your test in the test center. Strictly prohibited. You're not allowed to do it. You have to leave the building. Sorry, I just touched this mic. You have to leave the building before you open your test results, okay? So, fingers crossed. So, another top tip before we move on to the actual theory test itself, I would highly, highly recommend you look at all the road signs. learn the road signs. Maybe not the ones that have all the writing on because they're quite self-explanatory. You need to know what that means, because I'm going to be honest, I did not know the difference between that and that. I honestly, you cannot tell me, seriously, I had no idea. And also this, I had no idea what that was. That's actually a stop sign. Even though it's covered in snow, that's a stop sign, So things like that, you've really got to have a strong understanding. So that's why I highly recommend you use revision for the signs on the app, because it's so helpful and it's basically like flashcards, really, really easy to learn. So I highly recommend you do that beforehand. So it doesn't really matter if you do start revising the day before you actually do your test like I did, because you've already got a really, really strong chance of passing it, because so many of the questions are self-explanatory. And now, sorry, it's a bit later in the day now, but now we are going to go over the actual theory test itself. So these are fixed questions that you will get. You will get a question and you will get 4 different fixed boxes that you can tick. Well, you can click on, and you can only pick one. And as I said before, this is out of 50, okay? The hazard perception, that is out of 75. This is out of 50 only. And the pass rate is 43. So you just need to get 43 to pass the theory itself. So there are a few things that I would really, really encourage you to look at. I've already recommended the signs and stuff like that, mock tests. That's kind of the main body of it all. However, some other things that really, really came up a lot in mine were motorways. Motorways, what is the difference in speed when you are driving a motor vehicle, so a car or a motorbike, and also if you are towing a trailer or you are a bigger vehicle like a tractor or something? Are you allowed on the motorway? What speed do you have to go on the motorway, or the dual carriageway, or the single carriageway? I didn't even know the different. Well, I knew that the difference of a dual carriageway to a single carriageway was there was an extra lane. You've also got to know the colours of the cat's eyes. On the very left, it's red, and then it goes green, and then it's white, and then it's amber. Amber, also, you need to learn amber lights. What do amber lights mean? What do blue lights mean? What do red lights mean? What do green lights mean? So yeah, it's really, really important that you know all of this. But as I said before, you can either use the questions by category that I've shown in the video. However, you can also just use mock tests. I think that's probably one of the best ways that you can do it, because even though you get 4 answers, you can tick 1 answer. You've got 4 bullet points that you can tick on the fixed questions. You just click 1. I feel like the mock test, it's timed too, so it also gives you that kind of like under test condition vibe. So yeah, I would really recommend the mock tests, but those are my recommendations. So yeah, overall, you're probably going to be thinking, oh, he hasn't really given me a lot of information. However, I kind of am. Download the app, spam out those questions, spam out the mock questions. You need to do, I would probably say, if you're doing it the day before like I did, I think I probably did 20 to 30. However, if you're doing it over a weekend, or you've got a whole week, I would recommend just spreading maybe 50 tests out among that period, because the mock tests are really, really important, as I said before, because they're also timed and they also show you where you've gone wrong. So yeah, I would highly recommend them. So the funny thing is, I actually tried to do my test after literally, I think I learnt maybe half of the signs. So I actually did a mock test, which you can do. You have a limited amount of mock test uses on the actual app. And I did it, and I managed to get 40 out of 50, and you only need 43 to pass. So if that doesn't tell you that it's very self-explanatory, I don't know what does. So yeah, the overall advice is do the mock tests for the theory. Those are so important. Do the mock tests. When you're doing, 43, 44, you're getting 45, 44, you're always getting above 43 or getting 43 exactly. And I'm talking 10 times in a row. When you're getting that, move on to the hazard and perceptions. And as I said before, the 3-click method, or the 3-second method, whatever you want to call it, 3 clicks every second when there's a 5-second timer. That 5-second period is really, really important, okay? So make sure you do those 3 clicks, okay? Thank you for watching. I wish you guys the best of luck in your theory test. You will do amazing. Drop a comment down below if you have any more questions, or like this video, and yeah, I will definitely get back to them. But I wish you the best of luck. You have got this. I will see you on the road.